Hi, so to start off my task 5, I'll be summarizing a bit my tasks 4. So my main issue that I was talking about in the part A was about lack of funding in schools. So my field of work will eventually be teaching in elementary schools. That's what I'm going into in university. So what alarms me most is how there's a big lack of funding in the schools for the teachers and for the system in general. Um, it just it makes the quality of the teaching way not as good as it's supposed to be, and it puts the teachers in very stressful situations. Every year there's less and less teachers and less people want to be part of that field of work. So my most solid argument, I would say, is from a news article that I mentioned in my introduction. It said that at the beginning of the 2023 school year, so at the beginning of the school year, the government counted that there was missing 8,558 teachers to fill up classrooms. So they had to deal with either very big classrooms for one teacher that's hard to handle, or just classrooms that had substitute teachers every day and just constantly changing teachers and not having any solid teacher, which sucks for a student and also for the teachers. Just a lot of stress, as I mentioned before. So my most solid argument is wanting better for our children. There's more and more in the classrooms, and their education is of less good quality because there's so many children, and it's hard for a teacher to concentrate on each kid and help them do better. So what do opponents tend to say about this issue, and how would I respond? So a lot of opponents will say that teaching is an easy job, that the pay they receive is equivalent to the work they do, and how they have their summers paid and many vacations, and it's just an easy job in general. I will say it looks like a fun job, but I will never say that it's easy. Even before I wanted to join this field of work, I knew that teaching was not an easy thing. You have to be very resilient to change, to stress, and to different situations, whether you're teaching elementary school up to university level. There's differences, but there's always a stress involved, and it is not an easy job. As for the vacation and the time off and the vacations paid, that is not true. That's something a lot of people think, but most of the time you're not paid for that summer. You're usually a part of your pay is taken out during the school year and just given to you during the summer, so you have money coming in, but really you have to be responsible with your own money, and if you're not working, you're not being paid. So that's what I would respond to opponents. More and more people are starting to know about that, but it's still a pretty ignorant opinion that most people have. As for what the general news media how they talk about the issue, is it enough in my opinion? I mean, I have seen articles about teaching and about schools, especially in Quebec and Canada, a lot. It comes out a lot. There's often problems. But what I find sad is that there often are news articles about negative things or problems that occurred. It's never really good news as for the teachers or the students. But I do think it's talked about enough. There's not many things that are kept hidden, I don't think. And if there is, I just don't know about it yet, because I haven't studied in that field of work yet. I'll be starting next year. So for now, I think that the general news does talk about it. And that most things are said and out in the open for people to know. Which one of the 4 text types in part B would be the most successful to share for my solution? I personally think it would be text type 2. To be honest, that's my favorite type of text for almost everything, unless it's a very specific issue. It's the informative text for the general public. I just think that this issue involves many people, involves the government, involves the teachers, involves the parents and the students, which that regroups most of the population. Most of those texts are not biased, so you're getting real information, while it's pretty short or easy to read at least, and it's still pertinent. It gives you the straight facts, the straight information. It doesn't beat around the bush or try to entertain you with other things like the text type 3. So that's why I would choose a text type 2, but also the more specific text type 1 would also be good, if I would want to address it more specifically to the government or the teachers in a more specific lingo. But generally speaking, I would pick text type 2 because is just easier to read, and I could say everything I want to say in an easier manner with using pretty basic vocabulary that everybody could understand. And also think that this issue should be understood and talked about with almost everyone. Do I value communicating this with a younger audience, and what would be the persuasive techniques that I would use? Personally, I don't think this issue really involves the a younger audience. The issue is really to be fixed with the government. There's nothing much we can do other than keep fighting for it and keep asking for it. Yeah, the younger audience, I mean, it's good that they would know about it and that maybe they would want to do a change later on, but for now they can't really do a change. But I still think that everybody should have a general knowledge of what's going on in the schools and the system and how it's a bit messed up at the moment. So the techniques I would use would be empathy at first. I personally think that our generation is becoming more and more empathetic as we grow. If I compare to like older generations like my grandparents, I find that as we go, there's more empathy. So I think that would be a good technique to use to show how it can be hard for teachers and also students, and to maybe give your teachers a bit of a break and kind of understand what they're going through. And the second one I would pick is supporting evidence. Personally, and if I talk for like generally people my age or even younger, when there's facts or when it's clearly identified, like a percentage or a statistic, it's catching to the eye and it kind of like wakes you up to what's actually going on. It proves you more than just a sentence that describes it. So personally, that's what I would use as the two persuasive techniques if I were to present this issue to a younger audience, like my age or younger. As for the CRAP test, my articles almost all passed it. The only point that didn't really pass it was authority. Sometimes just the name of the person would be named, not their professional position. They didn't all have PhDs. They didn't all have like a career in that field, so they might not be the best to talk about it. But currency was almost always there, relevance as well. Nothing really steered off the subject. Accuracy was there as well. Everything was pretty well pointed out, and not too many biases, not too many opinions. And purpose as well. There was a clear goal for the text and what needed to be talked about. So that's it. Thank you. That was for my text 5.